Imagine a world where Wes Craven never disemboweled the slasher genre with a hunting knife for all to see. And in that world, Casey Becker's phone doesn't ring, she doesn't burn her popcorn, and her corpse isn't dangled from an elm in her front yard.
But in that world, slasher movies rot on the straight-to-VHS shelf at Blockbuster. The Cabin in the Woods remains a cozy vacation spot by the lake, and the Scary Movie series loses its most precious source material.
Or imagine a world where the only Shaun that ever hopped the pond onto American screens was a mischievous clay sheep. Ed never whipped the Batman soundtrack at a zombie's head, and the blueprint for the modern action zomcom is deleted.
Two masterworks of deconstruction, two gloriously gory splatterfests. Only one will survive the zombie apocalypse.
This is The Essential Cut. Welcome to today's episode, The Rules Were Meant to Be Splattered. I'm Ian, one half of the Essential Cut podcast.
I'm Michael, the other half. This is the podcast where we make the toughest decision any film lover can ever make. Which film not to watch?
Even if you quit your job, ignored your children, stopped mowing your lawn, and only watched movies, it would take you a lifetime to get through all of the top movie watch lists.
So, we are chopping your watch list down to size.
In each episode of The Essential Cut, we will select two movies that have similar themes or hold a similar place in our culture and compare them in a series of tests.
The movies may be forgotten gems, AFI top 100s, or summer blockbusters. No movie is safe, no genre is off limits.
Then, we will determine which movie is worthy of a spot on the Essential Cut watch list and which one gets removed forever.
Today, we're matching up Scream and Shaun of the Dead. Ian and I each have 3 awards that we'll independently give to each movie before we decide which one makes the Essential Cut.
In Phase 1, we'll award the film that packs the bigger emotional punch.
We will look at the themes, the performances, and the aesthetics of each movie and ask, are we still feeling it, or is it out of touch? In Phase 2, we will each award the film most important to the cinematic landscape.
In this phase, we will look at Scream's and Shaun of the Dead's lasting impacts. Which film is more influential? Which filmmakers did these movies inspire?
We will also share what film lovers are saying about the movies by reading their letterboxd ratings and reviews.
Then, before we make the final determination as to which film will be deleted from the Essential Cut watch list, we will ask the all-important question.
Which is more entertaining?
First up is Scream.
By 1996, the slasher movie was a rotting corpse, bloated by a decade of cynical, straight-to-video sequels and cartoonishly invincible masked killers. Horror was the butt of the joke until Scream showed up, flipped the script, and forced the audience to look in the mirror. Scream weaponized our eye-rolling cynicism. It changed knowing the rules from a superpower into a liability. And when it hit theaters, it shocked the zeitgeist, transforming horror from a lowbrow hobby into a hyper-literate, commercially dominant force that demanded prestige. Next up is Shaun of the Dead.
By 2004, the zombie had been jolted back to life by the digital adrenaline of 28 Days Later. But while Danny Boyle made the apocalypse terrifying again, Shaun of the Dead made it relatable. Edgar Wright recast the protagonist from gritty survivalist to slacker on the sofa. It anchored the end of the world in the crushing routine of a dead-end retail job and the mundanity of fetching flowers for your mama. By fusing the hyper-kinetic, all-rhythmic whip pans and sound-synced violence with a sincere heart, it proved you could deconstruct the zombie mythos without losing the stakes. Shaun of the Dead showed that the only thing more resilient than a mindless horde hungry for brains is a Londoner stubbornly refusing to leave his favorite pub.
2 infinitely rewatchable comfort movies. 2 savage genre rewrites.
Only one makes the Essential Cut.
With that, it's time to get to work. Let's start by exploring if Scream still connects like it did back in '96.
Hello?
Why don't you want to talk to me?
Who is this?
You tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
I don't think so.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Uh-huh.
I only eat popcorn at the movies.
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Halloween. You know, the one with the guy in the white mask who walks around and stalks babysitters?
Yeah.
What's yours?
guess.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Is that the one where the guy had knives for fingers?
Yeah, Freddy Krueger.
Freddy, that's right. I like that movie. It was scary.
Well, the first one was, but the rest sucked.
So, you got a boyfriend?
Why? You want to ask me out on a date?
Maybe. Do you have a boyfriend?
No.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Scream opens with a perfect scene.
Yes. I can't get enough of that opening scene. It really is just fantastic.
It's kind of a perfect cold open. You have a character kind of in the middle of a task. Phone call comes through and the tone immediately shifts. There's something foreboding. You know that what's on the other end of this phone call, because we're watching a horror movie, is danger. And the character doesn't know right away, as we heard, is quickly sort of clued in. And then all of the horror beats start happening. The threat becomes realer and realer. The voice at the other end of the phone eventually reveals the call's coming from inside the house. In this case, right outside of the house.
Yeah.
We get revealed that the boyfriend that she pretended she didn't have had already been captured by
yeah. Oh yeah, he's not
the
disemboweled
killer.
yet, but he's strapped up. Yeah.
He gets disemboweled. There's the chase scene, the fight, and Casey Becker, Drew Barrymore's character's eventual very grisly murder.
The other thing that it does really well in the beginning is that it sets up these little moments of hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where this movie grabs me. It's
Yes.
not that the scene is tense. It's not that the scene is scary. It's not even that it's surprising, but it's that it finds a way to believably give you hope that Casey Becker might be saved, especially since, and I know you're going to get into it, you don't expect the biggest star in this movie to die in the first 15 minutes of it. So you see those glimmers of hope, and you're like, oh, that's how they're going to keep Drew Barrymore in this movie.
Exactly. And that is why this scene...
It's fucking awesome.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
And it does teach the audience in a very creative way what they're in for.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, Drew Barrymore is the biggest star in this movie. Not only is she the biggest star, it was marketed with her as the star of the movie. Her face was on the poster that you saw at the movie theater.
Oh, her holding that phone is iconic.
It's iconic. And so you get these moments of hope. You think she's the main character of this movie. You think she's the girl that we're going to be following for the next 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And 13 minutes in, her throat is slashed.
I know.
And so we have that first subversion, that this is not a regular horror movie. This is not exactly what we thought we were sitting down for. The other thing that it introduces really well, not to the extremes that we see later on in the movie, but that this is a horror movie whose characters are aware of horror movies. They know what they are, they know how they work, and the killer is using that to toy with them.
Yeah, we've talked about how much we like diegetic music in other episodes, and these characters, of course, they're listening to music of their era because they're human beings that live in the world. This is a movie where, of course, these teenagers are watching horror movies because teenagers like watching horror movies. They're slasher films, and it makes them so much more real and gives Craven so much more to play with.
Yes. There's obviously the fun sort of meta jokes about Nightmare on Elm Street, which were directed. The first one was directed by Wes Craven.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have Craven
weren't.
dressed up as Freddy Krueger,
Freddy
cleaning
Krueger.
up the high school.
So
a little
there is
fun,
a lot
and then her saying that the first one was the only good one, and everything after that sucked.
Which is great.
I do love Nightmare on Elm Street, though.
Nightmare on Elm Street is so fun.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger is just an all-time great character.
Totally.
And so that really sets up what this movie is. It's a deconstruction of the horror genre, or slasher movies specifically that came before it. And it's not a parody. This isn't a comedy. It is an actual horror movie. It works like a real horror movie. But the characters understanding horror plays such an important role, and it influences their behavior.
I don't want to leave the opening scene yet. I know you're pivoting, but I want to stay on this because I think it's both the movie's greatest strength for me and how it connects, and its greatest weakness.
Well, it sets the bar very, very high.
The movie opens with the climax, but it doesn't just open with the climax. It opens with a climax that's so perfectly directed, so perfectly performed that for me after this, yes, it sets the tone for the movie, but it also like sets it up so every scene after this kind of disappoints. It'd be like if Terminator 2 started with Hasta La Vista, baby, and he had the grenade launcher and he was already doing that.
Yeah. I mean,
like if that was the opening sequence, I'd be like, wow, Terminator 2 is awesome for the first 15 minutes and the rest of it's a really good movie.
Yeah, it is odd, right? That the thing that is probably the most remembered about this movie, the sort of iconic set piece, isn't the climax, it's the opening.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, I don't necessarily disagree with you on the facts. But for me, like it just captured me. It brought me into the movie and I was ready to kind of buckle up for what was coming.
And this is the thing. Like I'm not saying I dislike the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I do. It's just so good.
It's so good. And Drew Barrymore
to its own detriment.
Yeah,
that's all.
Drew Barrymore is flawless.
She's superb in it
because and this is another place where I think this movie diverts from the horror movies before it, is not only she is an established actor that we're familiar with,
I mean,
but she's a good actor. Her performance
established actor.
is
she was
strong.
in like the biggest movie of all time at this point. I mean, like E.T.
was huge.
E.T. was enormous.
And she comes from a Hollywood dynasty,
Yeah.
right? Like she's a big deal.
Yeah.
Not the type of actor that you would normally see in this type of movie.
No, there's so much weight attached to the fact that she's at the beginning of it, and her performance is so good.
And then she brings the goods.
And we all love her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's very likable. Like you don't want to see Drew Barrymore die.
You don't want to see Casey Becker die. Casey Becker's the best. Yeah. Like you want to see the Casey Becker movie.
But the way that she conveys playfulness at first, and the way that it pivots into just sheer terror. Like that is real emotional range that you don't get in like real dramas, right? Like,
yeah.
It's a great performance.
It is. Anyway, you were getting into kind of the rules and the subversion of them before I dragged you back to the beginning.
No, it's fine. It's such a great scene. Like I could talk about it more. So it subverts the rules. We have from this scene, it goes into how it's affecting the school, the community. There's a killer on the loose. There's a threat. And we are introduced to our main character, Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell.
Yes. In a prior episode of one of our other podcasts, I mentioned that I had seen, I think I said Naomi Campbell, and I meant I saw Neve Campbell when I was at Universal Studios, like outside just like smoking once. And I was like, oh, look at that. Yeah. It's young Neve Campbell.
Yeah. And Neve Campbell, another actor that people were familiar with from TV. She wasn't a no-name.
What was she from?
Party of Five.
Oh, was she Party of Five?
I think it was Party of Five.
Okay. I never watched Party of Five.
Neither did I.
Should we?
I don't know.
Should we do a podcast on it?
Probably not. So
Party of Two on Party of Five.
She's the main character.
We're the Party of Two in that.
Her character is tortured emotionally. Her mother was murdered a year prior.
Her mother was such a slut, though. She had it coming. We know she's.
You joke, but I actually think
I'm doing it.
I'm important to the movie.
Yes,
because the rule of horror movies is generally that it's adults punishing teens for their bad behavior.
Yes,
it's drunk kids, slutty kids, kids causing trouble, going places they shouldn't be. And then kind of getting what's coming to them.
And then in this, you have a kid who's punished the adult for her supposedly bad behavior.
Exactly.
And also the way they talk about her, like, is like, it's fucked up.
It's really
it's cruel.
Crazy.
Like,
and they say to her daughter.
I know, to her daughter of the murdered mother. Anyway, it's wild.
And so you've set that up. That's another little twist where we know how horror movies work, but we're doing it a little different. And then you have Sidney Prescott, who is ostensibly the good girl, right? We know the final girl. The final girl is the one who is better than all of her friends, and that's why she gets to live. You have Laurie in Halloween as a good example. Yeah. But that's just not how this movie works. Sidney is flawed. She, for example, she pins her mother's murder on the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Gets him convicted with her testimony. She punches a reporter in the face for reporting on the story.
Which is pretty wild. Yeah, there are like some lines that get crossed in this movie that are...
Yeah, and then she does have sex, right? She goes to the party. She does the bad behavior.
Yeah, but Skeet Ulrich is doing a pretty good Johnny Depp, so I get it. I don't blame her.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's very pouty. He's got the kind of greasy hair in his face. Like, I mean, he's 90s Johnny Depp, so
he is, which is another play on Nightmare on Elm Street.
I know, you can't blame her.
No, she was just doing what any of us would have done.
He's undeniable, you know.
He is.
Put yourself in Sydney's shoes.
And so again, we've twisted the rules. She's also a character who has agency. She is the driver of her own car, right? Like, she is making decisions. But she ends up being kind of the primary target of this killer.
Yeah.
She's the one who is sort of toyed with, played with, has the most interactions with this killer. She gets sort of stalked multiple times. Mm-hmm. And all the other murders that are happening are kind of just happening around her. But she's definitely the center. And then we're also introduced to Randy Meeks, who is a great character played by Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
And he is...
This is 2 Jamie Kennedys in a
row,
which is pretty wild because, like, he didn't have, like, a very long...
quite good in both of them. And I don't think we think of him as, like, great, but maybe he is.
I'm going to... On this watch,
mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen this movie in a long time, and I've only seen it once before. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I was like, oh, it's Jamie Kennedy and Matthew Lillard that are the killers. Like, I was like, those are the 2 that are the killers. Obviously, they're the 2 obsessed with horror movies. Like, they're the killers. And I was genuinely shocked when it wasn't him this time, even though I've seen this movie.
You know.
Right? Yeah, well, I should know.
But they set it up well because that would be the rule, right?
Yeah.
Like, he, of course, would be the prime suspect. He calls it out in the movie that, of course, I would be the prime suspect. You should be looking at me.
Yeah.
But he teaches us the rules. There are 4 rules that he teaches us, where he says, 1, you never have sex. The virgin's the one who survives.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney does have sex. She survives. He says, you never drink or do drugs. It's, again, back to that bad behavior. There's a purity test for surviving horror movies.
Yeah.
Randy immediately gets drunk and is kind of shit-faced for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
He's one of the few survivors at the end.
Yeah, because the end is a bloodbath.
The end is a blood. Like, everyone is just getting taken out.
Yeah.
He teaches us that you never say you'll be right back because you won't be right back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stu, sort of mocking, says, hey, I'm going to go grab a beer. I'll be right back. And then disappears. But we find out that he wasn't murdered by the killer. He is the killer.
He is the killer. But so Rosario Dawson's character, though, doesn't she... What gets her into the garage? Doesn't she say she'll be right back? Or I forget.
I don't know. I don't think she said, I'll be right back.
All right, but she does leave the group.
She does leave the group.
Yeah, she's... Yeah.
Yeah. She shouldn't be alone. Bad choice.
Such a bad choice. I know.
And that scene's great, too. You have Rosario Dawson playing the best friend. She gets murdered in a garage. When she encounters the killer.
Kill.
It's a weird kill.
It's a weird kill. Like, do you think that would actually kill you?
I don't think the garage door motor would be able to lift that weight.
I don't know. Like, I watch that scene and I'm like, this is fun. But
it's a good set piece.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
But would you die? You'd get a bruise.
She got squooshed.
She got squished. Like a bug, she gets squished.
But it's another one where she is aware of what's going on around her. She assumes that it's a joke and that she's in on the joke, that it's just a friend wearing the costume, kind of screwing with her.
Yeah. Which, like, these kids are so numb. Like, can we just talk about, like, how numb these kids are? Like, I mean, Neve Campbell's character, Sydney, right? Her mom died a year ago. They're fucking around. They're making jokes about her dead mom. There is a known murder on the loose. Like, Casey Becker died, like, last night. Like,
there's a curfew. That's why they're not at school the next morning. That's why they could have a party.
Yeah. Like, people are, in fact, being cut up, and they're still joking about it. Like, they're
watching horror movies.
Yeah, on a night where there's a killer loose that's killing high school students that killed their friend. Like, their cynicism is, like, wild. And it's something I really, like, I wrestle with in this movie because I'm like, man, is this, like, adults looking at kids saying, man, kids are so cynical? Like, you're saying, like, it's about adults punishing kids, but are these kids just being punished for being cynical rather than being unclean?
I don't know. I think it's more that the world is kind of an ugly place sometimes, and these kids aren't stupid. So they're able to see it in ways that kids in other movies don't.
Mm-hmm.
They're not naively sort of like bouncing around. They sort of get that things are not great.
But do they? Because I think they only understand that, like, from a narrative format, they understand that, like, media is not great. They don't understand that life isn't great. I mean, they live in these really nice houses in this really beautiful community. They, like, are so protected that they joke about death. They joke about murder. I feel like that's their sin, is, like, their cynicism.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned the media, right? I think that's the other thing that this movie toys with in a really interesting way.
Well, I mean, it makes a primary character that's not one of the teenagers
is
media personality.
Gail Weathers, Courtney Cox, another established actress. She's a tabloid reporter. She is just trying to get her story. She will cross every line to get it. She's writing a book about Sydney's mother's murder. Which is why she gets punched in the face. But this movie, I think, is telling us something about ourselves as an audience. And I think this maybe touches on what you were saying is I think we're all kind of desensitized to these things. In this movie, it's a book, it's like tabloid TV, and the way that we consume other people's tragedy as a commodity.
Yeah, it's everybody's consuming like violence and loss through television, through movies, and even mediating it through like joking and sort of like teenage like ribaldry. I never like to say ribaldry. Ribaldry, not rivalry. We're being ribald.
And then there's an evolution. This movie sort of gave it to us in the 90s context, but think about right now, the most popular podcasts, the most popular documentary series on Netflix.
Oh, we love
the true crime.
I know.
They made Jeffrey Dahmer sexy on Netflix.
Well, I mean, because it makes everybody, and this is going to get back to my theory, it makes everybody feel safe because that's not me, right? That's some other world. That's a mediated world. I don't want to get.
I don't know. Is that the sin of the kids, or is it again the sin of the adults around the kids creating the world that made them cynical?
Well, it's the way they're engaging the media, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, is it nature? Is it nurture? Is it like the media environment? But the way they engage with it is exceedingly cynical.
Yes.
Right. And so I do think it's the sin of the kids. Like, I do think, I mean, because like, Lillard's and Ulrich's character, like they're killers. Like, and Ulrich has like a motivation, but like Lillard's character is a killer out of cynicism. Like he's just a cynical killer because he's like, oh, it's a
thing to do.
It's a lark.
And it's popular in the media to blame the media for violence. So I'm going to do violence to prove them right.
Yeah. But it's because it's like, this is a silly lark that I can go out on because I've seen movies where characters just and watch how I can subvert these rules, but still take people's lives. And like, this is like, it's what makes
sick. He's the real monster.
It's not just that it's sick. It's
he's silly, but he's the monster.
It's what makes the movie scary because that is so much scarier than somebody who has like an axe to grind against you because of something you did. It's so much scarier to have somebody who's like, the world is meaningless. Everything's a game. If you don't know the rules, then I'm going to kill you. And like, that's all. He's like the proto Anton Chigurh, man. Right?
Yeah. I mean, he is. He's terrifying.
He's just tossing coins on people's lives.
Billy's a broken, angry kid.
Yeah.
Who's just trying to
he's got feelings.
He's set the world right, I guess.
He's going to start it was an emo band or murder.
Murder. He chose murder.
He chose murder.
Yeah.
I think a lot of emo lead singers would have chosen murder.
Yeah. Gerard Way would have been a murderer if he didn't make My Chemical Romance.
Absolutely.
That's fair. He's got murderer face.
He does. A lot of them have murderer face. And then they give themselves murderer haircuts too.
They do.
Yeah. All that vinyl, it's easy to wipe the blood off. Ooh, it's a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
All right. I mean, we kind of talked a little bit about
the performance. It has a great ensemble cast, right?
It does.
We talked up Drew Barrymore. She deserves all of that and more.
Yeah.
And Neve Campbell is a solid character. There's a feminism to her character that we haven't seen in horror movies prior to this.
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard.
Let's pause on Lillard though real quick because again, I love talking about any actor who Quentin Tarantino shits on. It's one of my favorite things to do is if he comes after somebody.
Tarantino has opinions.
He does. But I mean, I think his opinions aren't always like I like Matthew Lillard.
I do too.
I think I like him in this, but I also think he's completely overdoing it. Like both are true.
Oh yeah, he's
all of the time.
Absolutely too much. I just love it.
Yeah. It's like he's making these choices that are like way too much. And I'm surprised Wes Craven's like letting him off. It's like, did he put a leash on this kid? He is
campy and vamping, and his character is...
Oh, he's mugging on camera.
Super fucked up.
Yeah.
I think like that's where we get these hints that he's like human. He could be a monster.
He's like human Gumby though, and I think that's why he gets away with it. Is he's just this like rubbery presence that just like wiggles onto the screen.
And that's one of those. Again, it's a fun performance.
He's always a fun performance. It's like I understand what you can say. He's a bad actor, but he's a fun actor.
He's doing the job.
He's doing a job. I don't know if he's doing the job.
I think it's the one that character needed to be doing. Rose McGowan, this is actually early in her career. She's made a star.
I really like her in this.
And
I think
she's good in this.
She might actually be my favorite performance apart from Drew Barrymore's.
And then, of course, we have to mention Henry Winkler as the principal.
Have to mention Henry Winkler, because he was the Fonz, and now he's the angry principal coming down on all these rotten kids.
Yeah, and you
know what though? Those kids are rotten. He's right to do it.
They are degenerate little shits.
Yeah, they are absolutely. He is right. Everything he says to them, about them, I support his disciplinarian methods.
And then another piece, we'll touch on it quickly, that is very different about Scream from the movies that it is really sending up, is this movie has a polish to it. Right? We talked about how it casts real actors. They're not these unknown, disposable no-names who are easy to kill because the audience sees them as props.
Yeah, they had to actually pay their cast.
They had to pay their cast, and they let their cast be real characters, which actually raises the stakes. It's part of what makes this movie work on both levels is because it does make jokes. It does play with all of these conventions. We're laughing along, but the stakes are very real. The horror set pieces are real. The gore is real.
Well, the characters aren't props.
Characters aren't props.
They're
not people.
Cardboard cutouts.
Which...
Like they have trauma, they have past.
I know you have a quibble about the camera work.
No, it wasn't a quibble. I was just surprised when I saw that they were shooting this horror movie on anamorphic. Because
which that's expensive.
It's expensive. It requires a lot in post. I was watching, I was like, that's barrel distortion from an anamorphic because these are things that I, for no apparent reason, pick up on sometimes. And I had to look it up, and I was like, did they shoot Scream on anamorphic? Like, what the fuck? What am I watching?
And, so this
sure enough,
movie was not
has a gloss, man. It's
just garbage that was going to get thrown into the VHS bargain bin. It was a studio movie that went out and made like $200 million.
It belongs on a silver screen. I wish, like, I didn't watch horror movies in the 90s. We had like a strict no horror policy in our house. I wasn't allowed to see them. We weren't allowed to they just never ever, horror was just a hard no in every way. And I wish I had seen this in 96, man. This would have been so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, I did see it in 96 when I was too young to be watching this movie.
Awesome.
And
because we always say too young, but it's like, did it fuck you up?
No.
Are you fucked up?
I love this movie.
Yeah,
it really actually taught me a lot about movies, right? I remember being, 7, 8 years old and kind of, I didn't have a word for it, but I understood like, oh crap, like this movie's doing two things at the same time. I didn't know movies could do that.
Yeah. It looks good.
Is a solid movie.
Yeah.
It holds up.
It doesn't even look that dated.
It doesn't look that dated. There are things about it, like the phones that they use, the TVs they watch that are a time capsule of the 90s.
There are some directors who are really good about keeping technology out of their movies so that they don't date themselves. Yeah. But this movie's so phone based. It's like,
and it's okay. This movie can take place in a time and it can occur in a time and place.
Yeah, no, I know. Scream's a good time.
Good.
The end drags a little for me. It's like the pacing of the end, where it's like they keep knocking them out and they keep getting up and they keep knocking them out and keep getting off. I'm like, I was like, did you try to run out your runtime? But
I really like the characters, so I like spending time with them.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a minor, but let's take a look at how Shaun of the Dead connects. Sound good?
Let's do it.
Right, that's all. Shake out, nice and limber, or not. Now, take another look at the way he moves. Remember, very limp. Almost like sleepwalking. Look at the face. It's vacant, with a hint of sadness. Like a drunk who's lost a bet. Okay, let's try, shall we? Liz. Nice, good vocal work. Okay. Barbara, that's excellent.
Sorry, dear, I was miles away.
Daphs? Come on. Okay. It's mournful, sorrowful. You definitely hate it. Go. Much better. Ed.
I'll do it on the night.
This is the night.
What is that?
What about yours?
Hey?
Who died and made you fucking king of the zombies?
Oh, don't.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. Right. Let's all try it together, shall we? 1, 2, 3.
They are all already good at performing zombie because not unlike the characters in Scream, Shaun, Ed, Liz, they all know zombie movies.
Yes.
Like this isn't their first encounter with a zombie. In fact, the movie starts with like they're playing Resident Evil, which just like fun little fact, like playing Resident Evil was part of what made Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg want to make this movie, which is also what made Alex Garland write 28 Days Later. In both instances, it was playing Resident Evil and saying, I want to make a zombie movie. And like, this is a really fun game.
But I think what's cool about this, what's different, right, is in 28 Days Later, there's the outbreak, there's the disease, people are changing, but they don't have a word for it.
Mm-hmm.
In Shaun of the Dead, they immediately identify them as, these are zombies.
Yeah, they're like, these are zombies because we know what zombies are because we've been playing in media. Like, we've seen what zombies are. But I also really like that the characters, it's not just that they know what zombies are, it's that they know how to perform as zombies because this movie, you see people evolve around them from sleepwalking through life into becoming zombies. And the distinction is so minor that the community is like not even noticing. There are so many scenes like there's
This is another movie where the opening really, for me, is one of the best parts.
Oh, it's so good. You just see everybody like walking through the streets and everybody's just like slack-jawed, hanging, going to their jobs, on the bus, getting dressed up, putting on their ties. I'm not tipping my hand, by the way. I just really wanted to dress as Shaun for the episode.
Neither of us ever tip our hands.
No, I'm really not. I haven't even decided which one I'm saving yet. Yeah, no, I really like. I'm going to decide in the episode.
Good.
This isn't nothing's predetermined.
You just had a red tie that needed some mileage.
Yeah, I was like, I want to look nice for today's episode, and then maybe sell a hi-fi stereo. But they like the change is so subtle that. Like Shaun and everybody, like they don't even know it's happening.
No. Is it a zombie outbreak or is it just urban decay?
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like this movie is such a great critique of that urban decay, which is really what a lot of like original zombie movies are. And this movie is doing a great job of sort of looking at this sort of like post-industrial world where everybody's in these like very like thankless and like, I don't know, just like not challenging service roles so that they can make enough money so that they can go home and sit on their couch and play zombie games. And it's like the distinction between their lives and being a zombie is so thin that it's like, who even cares if you become a zombie?
It extends even like into their relationships, right? Like Shaun has like his relationship with his roommate is not great and strained.
Well, with the other roommate, not with Ed.
Yeah, not with Ed. Ed's not even technically a roommate, I don't think.
No, Ed does.
Does he?
He is a flatmate because he's supposed to pay rent. He just doesn't because he doesn't sell enough weed to the guy who works with Simon Pegg. Which, by the way, that joke is awesome. When he's on the phone with Ed during the meeting at work trying to buy weed, but he doesn't have any, you have to pay attention and realize that is in fact Ed on the phone.
It's happening. Yeah. He has to schedule like what is it, a bi-monthly like time where he sees his mom.
Yeah.
Relationship with his girlfriend is going on 3 years, but is completely idled out. Like he really
they go to the same pub. They bring Ed with them. Yeah, everything is so autopilot. Like there's no effort being put into any element of his life.
Yeah, so he is a zombie, and then the zombie outbreak happens. And that's what sort of snaps him out of it.
But not even immediately.
Not immediately.
Because he falls right back into very similar patterns. He's like, well, I'm going to go to my mom's.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring her flowers. I'm going to go pick up Liz. And we're going to go to the Winchester. Those are the same plans he has when there isn't a zombie outbreak. He's just now justifying his plans against this new world. And that's again, like, what I love about this movie is it's like, is this a good plan? Like you hear it and you're sort of like, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
It sounds like a good plan,
Like-
but is it just comfort?
Exactly. And it's like you're justifying it as a viewer in the movie where you're like, well, there is a gun there and he does know the place well. Like all of these things make sense for Shaun to decide to gather up his friends and go to his favorite pub with his mom. And what's interesting is like Simon Pegg, when he was writing the script, one of the things I think he's given advice to other screenwriters is like, how do you set up a character who that they're sort of here at the beginning and they need to get to here. Like they're not a great person. They have growth to do, right? But they never quite get here. They sort of make this compromise because nobody changes that much. And that's like Shaun's journey is like Shaun is he's a zombie at the beginning of the movie. He's not a zombie at the end of the movie, but he's still doing a lot of similar things. He's just grown up a little bit. He hasn't fully changed. He hasn't fully altered. And everybody around him is still kind of living relatively similar lives, even though his mom and his dad are dead. Which by the way, total side note, like if there were a zombie outbreak, like do you have a plan?
I would go early.
You'd go
I
early?
have no confidence in myself.
I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't just go early. Like I would walk up and try to get bit quickly because there are three things that everybody has to do that I'm just not doing. Not shooting my mom in the face. I'm not shooting my dog in the face, and I'm not drinking my own urine. Like none of that shit's happening.
None of that's happening.
And that is all stuff you have to do if you choose to survive.
But Ian,
What?
you're a vegetarian,
I am.
and if you become a zombie,
Yeah.
you're eating meat.
You know what? Fine. I will take that over shooting my dog in the face.
Fair.
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's just, but kind of going back to this scene though, what I really, really love about the scene and why I chose it is because it has that self-awareness like Scream does. And it has these characters who recognize the world that they're in and are sort of like cynically joking about it. Like,
Yes.
yeah, like Ed's like, I'll do it later. Like he's going to
I'll do it that night.
Yeah, he's like, I'll procrastinate practicing being a zombie. That's going to be the thing that helps me potentially survive walking across the street with hundreds of zombies.
What is so great is it really punctuates the theme we've been talking about of these characters is that their zombie acts have so much of themselves in them still.
Like Shaun is good at pretending to be a zombie. Ed is superb at pretending to be a zombie, actually. David is like, he's bad at it, but it's because he just doesn't take anything seriously. Like
He's so aloof.
He's so aloof. And it's funny because he's seen as the one who's like sort of more grown up than Shaun is. And he's always looking down his nose at Shaun. But the reality is he's just as disconnected from his own life as Shaun is, but just in a more negative way. He hasn't accepted his sort of stasis. He's like, he judges everybody else, even though he's in exactly the same
Because he's put
position.
it in a more acceptable package.
I think it's more he's just looking down his nose at Shaun, and that's what helps him to feel better about himself, is that they're both living relatively similar lives. Like they're not that far, they're not miles apart.
But he can just point at Shaun and say, I'm better than that.
At least I'm not Shaun. And that's the thing is like for them in this moment, like they can all point to these zombies. Well, at least we're not these zombies.
Yeah.
Like we've made it thus far. So the other thing I really want to talk about is just like Shaun's, like I kind of started onto it, but like Shaun's Arrested Development, like what Ed represents in this movie. Now, Nick Frost wasn't even an actor before this. Yeah. Like Simon Pegg was like, hey, this is my buddy. Like this is my mate. This is my mate. Can he be in the movie?
He was his Ed.
Yeah, he was. He was like, can he be in the movie? And, Simon Pegg was in his 30s when he wrote this and got this off the ground because he kind of was. He'd been, doing comedy. He'd been trying to get his life off the ground. And it's just like things weren't quite happening. And Edgar Wright was super young. He was like 22 or something when they were making this, like really young 20s when they got together and were like, we're going to make this movie and try to get this funded. But Ed represents this Arrested Development where it's like Ed is to Shaun as Shaun is to David. He can be like, well, I'm more grown up than Ed, and Ed's sort of my indulgence. Like, I'll go and I'll hang out with Ed and play video games and smoke weed on the couch, but look how adult I am. I still go to work.
I have a job. I'm the manager.
Well, he's not the manager. Remember, he's like
whatever
the supervisor when the manager's not there.
Yeah.
I have a red tie.
Yes.
Yes.
He can sell the big cable package.
He can. He knows how to sell the big cable package. He can pay for his own pints at the pub, and he doesn't have to have somebody else pay for them. And that's like Ed's his excuse. And I like this too because like everybody in their lives, they sort of have that thing that justifies their existence, where they have somebody like you like Shaun, but he is doing to Ed exactly what David's doing to him, which is.
And I think what's great about the way that these characters are utilized in the movie is that Ed is not holding Shaun back.
No,
Shaun is
holding
using
Shaun
Ed
back.
as the excuse for holding himself back.
Exactly. And then where it finally lands is that like Ed's still part of his life. He just had to move him out to the garage.
Yes.
Or the garden shed, which is like...
It puts the anchor in sort of a more appropriate place.
It puts all of the childish toys, into your pod studio so that you don't drive your wife crazy with all of them. And then you can go and be an adult when you're out of the shed, but you can still go out there and, watch movies and play Resident Evil when you still want a little dose of being a child. It's like Shaun's life goes from being like 80% child, 20% adult to being like 60-40, where he's like 60 adult, 40 child. And like that's his growth over it, which feels like so realistic. It's a great arc for a main character.
It is. I think it takes like creative courage to do that, right? They didn't turn him into a hero.
No.
He is still sort of an everyman, but it allows him the ability to just become a better everyman, to actually progress in life, and maybe he'll continue making these steps and be a successful, fulfilled person. And it took something huge to sort of kickstart that.
Yeah.
But it's not like the cheap, I'm going to rise to the occasion and become amazing instantly.
No, he's bad with a gun. He basically plans on killing himself and his girlfriend at the end. Like that's his like final, like that's the final move that he has. He's still a pretty normal guy at the end of the movie. He's just grown up a little bit. Performances, I think everybody's great in this movie. You know, they're basically all from the show Spaced. Have you seen Spaced?
No.
Spaced is awesome. It's the first thing that they did when they were on TV. They had a few episodes of it. It was like, you know how British TV is. It's like, we did a whole season.
We did 4 episodes. Yeah.
We did 2 seasons and 4 episodes. Spaced is great, though, but it's most of the people from there. You know, Simon Pegg. I mentioned Nick Frost as his friend, but Kate Ashfield as Liz. And then I really love Lucy Davis as Diane. She's freaking awesome. She ended up being on The Office later, and she's done a lot of good British TV. And then Bill Nighy. I got to stop on Bill Nighy because, like, I love how this movie subverts the dream of shooting your awful stepdad in the face.
Yes.
Like, you're like, this guy, like, he's just up Shaun's ass about everything. He shows up at his work just to tell him to get flowers for his mom and come give her a visit. And he's like, this guy's the worst. And by the end, he's adopting him. And this is also a little autobiographical for Simon Pegg. He actually had a really strained relationship with his stepdad, and I think he handles it really well in the movie. But Bill Nighy's freaking, every time I see him, I'm happy, and he's awesome as a zombie. He's awesome as an annoying stepdad. And he brings a warmth to it that, like, you know, he doesn't get a lot of time on screen, but you're like, you go on the journey where you're like, he actually did want the best for Shaun.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think like the lesson that Shaun needed to learn, you know, it's kickstarted by the zombie apocalypse, but it's taught by Bill Nighy's character.
I know. He does. He takes that lesson as like, there's that paternal connection that he needed. And that's kind of wonderful. So a little bit like, you know, I love Edgar Wright's direction and editing.
Yes.
This is a period where, you know, I mentioned Danny Boyle. He is shaking the camera around. He's twisting it. He's turning it, whether it's in 28 Days Later or Sunshine. Like, we have this British directors or Scottish directors and coming out of, you know, the UK anyway, that are doing a lot of very kinetic editing. So, you know, Danny Boyle, Guy Ritchie, Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright's works for me. Sometimes the other two can be a little bit much. But when Edgar Wright is like just showing me somebody going to work and just speeding it up through a couple like jump cuts and whip pans, and it cuts over something that generally would be kind of boring to get to something that's actually very like making it into something that's exciting, like taking the mundane and making it exciting. It fits in thematically.
It's really important thematically, right? Because you have these characters that are sleepwalking through. They have a very boring life. It would be boring to watch if not for the filmmaking style of Edgar Wright.
Exactly. And so I think it looks great. This movie ages really well for me.
There's another one that has a bit more polish than it needed to.
Yeah. I know, especially when you consider the budget on this one. Like this had no money. They were scraping together pennies to make this movie. So Michael, it is time to decide which movie packs the stronger emotional punch.
All right.
Gonna get out our awards here. So I've got
me
put it underneath.
being affected emotionally.
Go ahead. We've got a split vote, buddy.
We have a split vote. So I did go with Scream. And that's not to take anything away from Shaun of the Dead. I actually think both of these movies work very well emotionally. They have great casts who create great characters, tell a compelling story. I care about what's happening. You know, in both movies, when characters die, you feel it. When they succeed, you feel it. And thematically, they both work. They both connect. They both hold up.
So now, let's examine the importance of our two movies. Let's start with Scream.
All right, Scream is an incredibly important, influential movie. It doesn't make any of the big lists. It's not on the AFI. It's not on the New York Times, IMDb, Letterboxd. Doesn't make any of those top lists. I'm kind of surprised.
I was shocked. I was shocked not to at least see it on the New York Times 1000 Essential. Like, this is the movie that made slashers important.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get here, but it redefines sort of how the box office functions. But we'll start with a Letterboxd review, as we do. The overall star rating for Scream is a strong 4.0.
That is a very high rating.
It's a very high rating on Letterboxd. I think the lowest on the Letterboxd 500 is a 4.1, so it like just missed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the review that I have is Scream is a gleeful, brilliant deconstruction of the genre itself, breaking it apart with profound respect and love and celebrating the very tropes it is exposing. There's a reason it had such an impact on release, and that the franchise is still finding some fuel in the tank nearly 3 decades later. Kevin Williamson's script is crackling with wit, humor, and deep respect and love for the genre. Craven's direction is fluid, confident, and full of brilliant misdirection. It feels like watching close-up magic, and his sleight of hand is balanced with some truly inspired set pieces and beautiful cinematography. This movie was formative for me and changed the way I looked at what was possible in the genre. And that review is written by director Mike Flanagan, who directed Hush, Dr. Sleep, the TV series The Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass.
I thought you wrote that review.
I agree wholeheartedly. It's everything I think I kind of said about this movie.
Yeah.
But I had to pick that one because as we talked about...
Wait, he wrote that on Letterboxd?
Yeah, that is his Letterboxd review.
That's funny.
And so I had to pick that one.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I was like, it's pretty wordy, but all right.
And it is because when we talk about the influence this movie had, it had a lot of influence on a lot of filmmakers. A lot of filmmakers directly cite Scream as an influence, Mike Flanagan being one of them. Eli Roth.
And it is disturbing, but it's not cruel.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how to explain
spirited movie.
Yeah, it is playful.
Yeah, well, it's the difference between Scream and Last House on the Left.
Definitely.
You know, Last House on the Left, you know, I remember hearing the stories about Wes saying how the crew spit on him or something like after the first screening. He's like, what have I done? And then after Scream, you know, you're still maiming and killing people, but there's like, Last House on the Left is one of those movies you're almost embarrassed to recommend to people because you feel just like, people are like, did you enjoy that? I'm like, no, I didn't enjoy it. I admire it, and it was amazing in ways.
Caught me
but
up,
But I was like, oh my, it was disturbing. So
really?
I didn't want that. I didn't want to make like that endurance test disturbing. It's not that end of the horror spectrum. You're playing with the studio's money. It's a mainstream slasher, and for a lot of kids that go see it, it's going to be the most gory, shocking film they've ever seen in a movie theater. So that I love.
And he cites 2 Wes Craven movies. Mm-hmm. And he really spells out the difference between the movies that came before Scream and the movies that came after Scream.
Yep.
Jordan Peele, who directed Get Out, Us, Nope, cited Scream as an influence.
And is in further development on whatever his 4th film is. That
it'll never come out.
Yeah.
He specifically says that Rod in Get Out was inspired by Randy Meeks. He's the character who knows what's going on and provides the warning to the characters.
Oh, interesting. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. You have the filmmaking team Radio Silence, who are known for Ready or Not, who talk about balancing a respect for the characters and legit bloody horror. Mm-hmm. They actually went on to direct some of the Scream sequels after
I saw
that.
that. Yeah, I know. I was like, if you're wondering who was inspired by Scream, look at the directors
Look at
of
the
Scream,
people who
Scream
made 5 and
sequels.
6.
Yeah.
You have Christopher Landon, who made Happy Death Day and Freaky. Those are fun movies. They're a remake of Groundhog Day and Freaky Friday, but as horror movies.
Yes.
And he again talks about being able to blend humor and sort of a silly premise, but simultaneously treating the stakes so seriously and bringing legit horror beats to the movies. All things that really started with Scream.
Mm-hmm.
And then more broadly, Scream changed the multiplex. We talked in our intro, like horror was not respected. Genre movies were this secondary, like they were B movies. They were often straight to video. They were endless sequels. They were losing their audience.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scream came out and it was this studio flick with real actors, real characters, actual filmmakers, good writing. And it created this like horror renaissance. Tons of series came out after it. You have
many that are still going.
Many that are still going. I Know What You Did Last Summer had a movie come out recently.
They had a reboot.
Final Destination just had a movie very recently.
That did extraordinarily well in theaters and critics.
And it was good.
Yeah.
Urban Legend, The Faculty came out right after.
Have you seen The Faculty?
I haven't.
That was the first horror movie I ever saw.
Oh, really?
It sucks.
It does?
I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I would feel differently about it now, but I remember seeing it, and like then I didn't watch horror movies for another 10 years because I was like, well, that's what horror is.
That's funny.
No, thank you.
Of course, there's the Scary Movie franchise that's directly
Which you have to.
parodying Scream.
Yeah.
A new one of those is coming out like this year.
I know. I saw a poster for it when I went and saw The Sheep Detectives the other day.
Oh, yes. I'm seeing that on Sunday.
It's the best. It's the best movie. I love The Sheep Detective so much. I cried 4 times.
Oh,
4. I started counting.
And of course, you have Joss Whedon's The Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Which is another sort of send up of the genre.
I hate Joss Whedon.
I don't like Joss Whedon either. I do like this movie.
I like it okay. His name just fills me with rage.
But most importantly, it was the overall shift in horror. The share of the box office that horror movies took in tripled over the 10 years after Scream and then continued to grow. Today, horror is some of the most reliable box office hits.
I'm going to go see Hokum tomorrow.
Yeah. They currently take a bigger share of the box office every year than dramas and comedies. They're really only beaten by like the big event action-y tentpole movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a third of the movies that hit theaters now are horror movies.
Well, they're cheaper to produce, and a lot of new filmmakers know that, and so that's basically what they make as their first movies.
And they're able. It's a great proving ground, and technology is now advanced in the 30 years since Scream that you can make a very polished, studio-friendly movie without a lot of money.
We definitely do live in the world that Scream begot.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, to the point now where, I mean, a lot of the movies that we see kind of do to Scream what Scream did to the horror movies before it.
Mm-hmm. There's a deconstruction now happening of Scream.
Yeah, the deconstruction that Scream pioneered is now the thing being deconstructed.
It's the horror Ouroboros. The Ouroboros?
The Ouroboros.
The Ouroboros.
Yeah.
Cool. I get credit for that. Well, let's take a look at how Shaun of the Dead has impacted the CinemaScape. I'll be honest, not as much as Scream. I think that there's really no question about it. I was also shocked though. So I didn't expect to see it on the AFI. It wasn't in the New York Times Top 1000 Essential Movies, but also Hot Fuzz wasn't as well, which I was like, one of these two movies needs to be in this book, and somehow both of them are not, which, what the hell, New York Times? Like, what's that about? Not on IMDb Top 250 and not on Letterboxd Top 500. Star rating of 3.9, just a smidge below Scream, so that's why. Review that I chose was not by a famous director, but by Dirk H. I'm trying to think of another film that manages to be a perfect tribute, comedy, and horror film in one. I just can't think of any. Which...
That's fair. I think this probably is the best example of that.
I couldn't say it better myself. It is first worth mentioning, though, that George Romero so approved of Shaun that he cast Edgar and Simon as zombies in his movie Land of the Dead.
Oh, it's great to see you.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
This is Dan. We've been ambushed. Oh, thanks so much for your support of the film as well.
Please.
It's just like...
I told you, I love it. And I've been, talking it up and trying to do as much as I can.
He watched Shaun of the Dead. In fact, they sent it to him before it got released because they just wanted his stamp of approval, because while he did like 28 Days Later, he said it was not a zombie movie.
Yeah.
And obviously, if George Romero says it's not a zombie movie, it's not a zombie movie.
Yeah,
it's just the way it works.
Zombie God.
He is zombie God. And he said this is absolutely a zombie movie. Apparently, they did apologize to him, though, because of how quickly the bodies reanimate. That does go against the rules. And he said that it was fine. They did it well. Like, they were both fans. In fact, Romero was, like, wearing a Shaun name tag when he met them. And they were like, did you do that because you're meeting us? He's like, no, I've been wearing it the whole time. I love Shaun.
I love the mutual respect that
it's awesome.
Was present there.
It's so cool. Joe Cornish, he was a co-writer on Ant-Man with Edgar Wright before they both got fired from the project because they were taking too long. They started it before Iron Man was even released. But he also wrote for The Adventures of Tintin, and he was one of the zombies shot by the soldiers in Shaun.
Edgar and I had been working on Ant-Man since, for a long time, since the first Iron Man movie, really. Well, since before then, since before Marvel was Marvel, when all the rights were owned by a company called Artisan. So I've been lucky enough to work alongside Edgar, and he's just very confident. And I used to get really stuck and overanalyze and sort of think myself into terrible quandaries. And he's just very, very can-do. So he was a big influence on me. So he just helped me do a bunch of learning about how to write before I even started on this.
Yeah.
So that's the lesson. Be friends with Edgar.
I'd like to take that lesson. Just be friends with Edgar. But yeah, he made Attack the Block, which is another sort of like genre mashup that's trying to take on like bigger messages. I mean, I think it probably owes a little bit to Scream in that way as well.
Yeah.
Ruben Fleischer, who did Zombieland and Zombieland Double Tap, he actually explicitly does a little homage in Double Tap to Shaun of the Dead. But I think that there is no Zombieland without Shaun of the Dead. It proves that comedy zombie is possible. And I love Zombieland, like such a fun movie. And then Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things fame, who is starting to direct and write films now, he talked a little bit about Shaun as well.
Like Shaun of the Dead is like a good example of a movie that, I mean, it's not a slasher, but it's a movie that's like a romantic comedy disguised as another film or as a zombie film. And to us, that was like such a good, that laid the groundwork. And that was also one of my favorite movies and still is one of my favorite movies ever as a kid and even now. So that was like definitely a huge inspiration for us because it just did comedy so well and it cared about his character so much, but also was paid respect to the zombie genre.
And that's Finn on his movie Hell of a Summer, which is on Hulu right now. It's a slasher movie, but it's also like a teen sex comedy disguised as one. And so
Finn's a fan of the Zomcom.
Yes. Definitely has like influence in kind of like smaller genre films that never like quite blew up, I think, the way that Scream did. But definitely like there are filmmakers, young filmmakers that are watching Shaun and saying, how do I do this kind of mashup as well? So now it is time to decide which movie is more important. I think this
one is not close.
It's not even a little close. No, I know. It's fine. So I think we both unanimously agree, and probably the world is on our side on this one. Scream is more important to the cinema landscape.
Yeah, this is why I was surprised it didn't make, at the very least, the New York Times 1000 Essential, because I do think this movie has a broad influence on cinema.
Yeah,
it's
huge.
I mean, and so while Shaun of the Dead had influence on individual directors, is a great movie, right? I'm not even necessarily saying that Scream is miles ahead of it as like a better movie, but in terms of the influence it had, I don't think it's a close contest.
No, I don't think it is either. I think Shaun of the Dead, in some ways, actually, its influence got a little stymied because people couldn't quite combine all of the charm. Like in the attempt to do what they did, they didn't leave much of a breadcrumb trail for other directors. Like if you don't have Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and Edgar Wright directing it, like this movie doesn't work. Whereas Scream is a great blueprint.
Yeah, it created the blueprint for others to follow.
Yeah, like there's something too quirky, too British about Shaun of the Dead that it's not a blueprint. It's just an inspiration where you're like, ooh, I can make a movie with my friends, but not I can make a movie like that and bring this genre to bear. So, Michael, you know what time it is now. Which one is more entertaining?
This is the toughest call for me. I think these are very close. They are both incredibly entertaining movies.
They are really, really fun movies. I like watching both of these movies so much. They make me so happy.
Yeah, and these, I rewatched these for this podcast, not because I had to. I've seen both of these movies a bunch of times, but because I wanted to.
Yeah.
These are so rewatchable. They're so fun. The movie that I revisit more often and can put on and just rewatch and have an amazing time every time is Scream.
I knew that's what you were going to say, and go ahead and put this on Shaun of the Dead for me. You went Scream in all 3 categories. Wow.
I did, and I almost feel
it's a sweep.
Bad about it, not because I don't think Scream deserves it, but because I wish I could have given some love to Shaun of the Dead, because I really do love the movie.
Yeah. I think for me, Shaun of the Dead it's more entertaining because it is funnier. It is funnier. It is
Absolutely.
a funnier movie. I like the performances more in it. I love Simon Pegg. And I mean, I love everybody in this movie, but like, I just identify with this character. Like, I understand where he's coming from. His emotional journey is one that, like, I feel like I'm on any part of it at any time in my life. It is such a comfort watch. The only thing that makes me not watch Shaun of the Dead is Hot Fuzz, because I'll sit down and I'm like, which one am I rewatching today?
Yes.
And the reality is I go back and forth because I have the whole Cornetto trilogy, and I still watch even World's End, even though it's my least favorite of the group, but been growing on me a little bit lately.
It's yeah, I think it's tough because it always gets compared to the other two, but it's a solid movie.
It's got that Pixar syndrome, or that, like, you know, when Spielberg makes Empire of the Sun, everyone's like, it's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
But it's not Raiders of the Lost Ark, so I'm going to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I think the real differentiator for me is Shaun of the Dead is absolutely the more funny movie. It moves really fast. It's such an easy, enjoyable watch. Scream brings me in to what is happening. It's like I'm playing a game along with the filmmakers. There's like this participatory element to it that I just really, really love.
I get it. I think they're both phenomenally entertaining movies. They're really, really fun movies. This has been a fun week, and it's going to be killer this next thing we have to do, because the movies we voted. We know where we stand on them, but the final decision must be made, Michael. I made us these nice little boards.
You did make us nice boards.
I did. So I did some like real like 3rd grade teacher laminating, attaching magnets, like really having some fun this week. And so now we have our boards. We're going to make the final call. You're going to place the scissors on the movie that is getting cut from the essential watch list. And then you're going to place your little Michael, your little pod Michael onto the movie that you are selecting that will belong on the essential watch list. And then we're going to reveal our decision.
All right.
Are you ready?
I think
you're ready. Yeah, I think you walked in ready.
I'm very ready.
I know how you feel about Scream. You and Scream are sitting in a tree, Kissing.
We sure are.
Ready to reveal on 3?
I am ready to reveal the biggest surprise of the podcast so far.
All right. I think I made the right decision. I feel okay about it.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
I thought this is where it was going.
Yeah. I really, really, really wanted to say Scream. So this is our first split.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worth mentioning. We've never split on a decision before. I don't think you have to tell me why you chose Scream. I think you've already told us why you chose Scream.
I think I have spent the last, hour telling you why I chose Scream?
Hour and 10 minutes why you chose Scream, yeah. I will tell you why I chose Shaun of the Dead. I really did not walk in. I've been trying to not decide before we discuss, because I do think the discussion is important. And what I realized is I can only get the hit I get from Shaun of the Dead maybe from like one other movie, which is like Hot Fuzz, but it's a different hit.
Mm-hmm.
I can get the hit I get from Scream from like 15 other movies. And so this is like, it's weird, but it's like to its detriment that it was so influential. Like there
I was going to say,
many...
it's interesting that you say that, because the reason for that is because of the importance of the movie.
Because it's so incredibly important, but because everybody came out and made great self-aware slasher movies, including so many sequels that I can go and like still live in Screamland if I want to and set up other Screams. Shaun of the Dead is like this singular moment in like British comedy. And I grew up on like PBS British comedy. So this movie is just like speaking my fucking language in a way that like I can't describe. When I was a kid, my parents just, I don't know why, but like British comedies, like we watched Fawlty Towers, we watched Are You Being Served? There was this show about a chef that was a dick, and I don't remember what it's called anymore, but I watched that all the time. Dick Chef, just ass chef. He cooks rump roasts and he's a prick. But like when I saw Shaun of the Dead, when like that movie came out and I saw it, and I think I saw it very shortly after it like came to like DVD, I was like, this movie's speaking my fucking language so hard, and I just can't think of another movie where I get that hit.
I don't actually disagree with that premise. I do think Shaun of the Dead is unique
It's singular.
It is singular. And that makes it really, really special.
Exactly.
But this is the essential watch list.
I know.
And the essentialness of Scream is that if you really want to understand horror as it exists today, this is a prerequisite.
You're not wrong. The thing you're saying is not wrong. But if I have to choose between these two movies being on my watch list forever, maybe it's an emotional decision.
You know, maybe sometimes art is a matter of taste.
You mean it can't be weighed and measured and then decide which one's the best?
I suppose not.
Are we undermining the premise of the entire show? Do we need to now make a Scream version of the Essential Cut where we take apart the rules of the Essential Cut on a pod?
I think it's our responsibility.
Okay, well, that will be the fall. We'll do a mini-series. But for the time being, this means that it's going to go to the audience to choose. And so we'll put up a poll on YouTube and we'll put up a poll on Instagram, and y'all can vote and tell us which movie you think belongs on the Essential Watch List, because today we have our first split decision. I thought we were going to have one.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, I had a feeling that might be the case, but I wasn't sure.
Maybe the cinematic importance would tip you, but I was not confident.
All right.
Well, next time on The Essential Cut, we are leaving behind the genre deconstructionists, and we are taking on the box office destructionists.
In 1987, Elaine May had the great idea to send Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty into the desert, mix a little 1940s Road to comedy with a little Bugs Bunny, and hope for the best. Columbia Pictures agreed and handed her $55 million to make Ishtar. What followed was a disaster so total it became the punchline to a Far Side comic, and Ishtar was the Hollywood cautionary tale for the next 8 years.
That was until Waterworld.
Universal, drunk on Jurassic Park cash, gave Kevin Costner and director Kevin Reynolds a blank check to make their wettest dreams come true. But as the storm clouds gathered, it became clear that there was only room for one Kevin on the atoll.
Two movies whose titles became synonyms for catastrophe. Two ego-driven epics that proved that you gotta spend money to lose money.
But there is only room for one notorious box office disaster on the next Essential Cut.
Like, subscribe, rate, and review The Essential Cut. All of those buttons help us. You can follow me at Michael_upleft. I'm on Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads. Ian, where do we follow you?
I am at Ian_upleft. I'm also on Letterboxd, Instagram, and Threads.
Remember to join us next week when Waterworld takes on Ishtar. Only one will make the cut, and the other will be deleted forever.
Bye for now. The Essential Cut is an Uplift Media production. Written, researched, and hosted by Ian Tarter and Michael Smith. Produced, sound engineered, and edited by Ian Tarter. With special thanks to Rosie Page.